Stand by, Mike. The service is a real estate and mortgage show and does not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Reality Radio 101, its advertisers and sponsors, or its listening audience. Listener discretion is advised. Good morning and welcome to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy and Jackie, right here on Reality Radio 101. To get on board right now, send us an email. Our email address is instudio101@gmail.com. And now, ladies and gentlemen, right to your hosts of Your Home, Your Money, Randy and Jackie.
Good morning, all. How are
Hello,
you?
hello, hello.
It is just the two of us today.
It is, and some construction.
We have some construction going on. They're sanding out front there, getting ready to paint the walls, because we have walls now at the front. It's coming along.
Quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, we'll probably have a grand opening maybe sometime late May or something, possibly. We'll have to see if everything goes as scheduled.
Yeah,
But
let's.
anyways, my husband sits down this morning and he looks at me and he's like, "So, is there anything I can burn you with this morning?" I'm like, "No, I'm perfect." Okay.
Yeah, she's perfect this morning. Yeah. Actually, it seems like the more stress that we have, the more we lean on each other, and the nicer we are. It's really weird. Well, I mean, we go through a little bit of a rough patch, and then we really support each other. It's kind of crazy.
What am I going to do with you? Huh? I don't got no choice.
You don't got a choice?
You're stuck with me.
It's good. It's all good.
Well, we got a few emails through the week.
Okay.
Would you like me to do those first?
Sure.
Okay, so let's see. This is from Carl. Carl says, a book title for Randy's new real estate book for home buyers and sellers. Hey, bro, how's house, like house, it going? By Randy Rodney.
How's it going? That's a good one.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that.
pretty good.
Who was that by? Who was that?
Carl.
Carl. If I do write a book called that, I will have to say it's inspired
Yes,
by Carl.
exactly. And this one's from Nancy. Nancy says, recession? We are always in a recession. It sucks.
Yeah, it does suck.
And then we got one from, Bob. It's from Bob, but it's signed Rob, so I'm not quite sure. Hey, agents, looking forward to that radio show today. So interesting.
Thank you, Bob Rob.
Uh-huh. And this is from, Kelly. I think this
But
was...
Robert is Bob. That's how
Yeah.
Bob.
I think this was for your show on Tuesday nights. But hey, Randy, for tonight, what is meant by parcel of tied lands? You want to quickly just shoot that out, what it is? Which
who
on
was
a
that?
listing says P-O-T-L.
Yeah, who is that?
Kelly.
I think I wrote Kelly. I wrote her an email back. Parcel of title lands is just basically there's a fee associated with that particular land. So what happens is that we build properties, and we usually build them in such a way that the municipal trucks and things like that can access it. But sometimes we don't have a lot of land, and it's a lot more restrictive, and therefore the municipal big trucks cannot service it. And so therefore the big garbage trucks, the big snow plows and all that stuff. And so therefore they have to have private services service those areas. And then therefore they need to share that fee amongst the people who live in that little community that needs this personal care.
And sometimes there's pools, tennis courts.
I was just going to say that one, but thank you. Say it,
yeah,
babes.
Sometimes there's activities that you can do within the community, like a pool, tennis court. Sometimes they have library you can go in.
Bowling alleys.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So
golf
the fee.
Course.
Okay. You know what I'm going to start doing? Every
And
time
then
you say I'm going to hum it.
And then what happens is that these costs, these activities do cost money, the land costs money and everything, and that gets shared amongst the people. So anytime you see POTL on a listing, then that means that there is an additional fee for those services.
And it could go up, it could fluctuate a bit.
Of course
so,
it will go up.
Yeah.
Right now, price of gas went up, so there's no way the people coming in to plow the snow or pick up the garbage are going to charge the same money. The price
Yeah.
of gas is way too high.
Can
So
you just lean here for a second? Sorry, guys, I got to help my husband here. He doesn't know how to put the
it's
earbuds in.
It's all good.
No,
can
you
just-
keep touching it, but it's because the way you have
I
it
didn't
in your
touch
ear.
it at all, actually. Yeah, that's right.
I
Let's
always
let's
have
not
to
get
fix
into
you
this
up.
right now.
You always need that
So
final
Kelly, that's
touch.
what PO2L is, but I did send her.
Yeah, I
an
see that.
email. Yeah.
Okay, so now we got one from Glenn, and Glenn says, recession would need a depression. Get those effing politicians to get this economy going again. Have a war. All of the
Remember
industries would boom. Money flowing then again like crazy. Come on, Russia, attack. Oh my goodness, Glenn, I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's pretty cynical.
I don't want to be around when Russia attacks us.
Russia is not going to attack us.
And this one,
Because that's why we gave Alaska to the States, because that was Russia's way in, and they would have to cross over the States border, and then they're dealing with the States. So there's no way Russia
as
can
long
attack
as
us.
Trudeau is supporting everybody outside Canada like he normally does, we'll be okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the politics, because you know me.
I'm not either,
politically
but
neutral.
a lot of people are a little sour about the
am-
new budget, so.
I am. Well, you know what? Shall we just touch on that for a second?
Well, I got one more email.
I know, but you'll come
Karen?
to it. You'll come back to it. No?
Karen just wants to know if there's any contests this month.
Okay. So we're going to say budget and contest. So Karen, yes, there is a contest. However, we are revamping our whole contest system. Like everything we were doing was so fragmented, and we're sort of trying to do it on the fly. So now we have Amanda. They're putting that all together. And the new contest, which will be the same sort of contest, is coming out. It just is bigger, better, bolder, faster. What it is that it will be. You still get the $25 Amazon gift certificate, but what we're trying to do is encourage people to join in it. So what we're doing is we're contributing money for each person who joins, and that money will go to charity. So we're, it's a fun little
Of their
thing.
choice,
Of
right?
their choice, yeah. It's a fun little thing. We're trying not to go broke, and we don't have millions of dollars, so so we'll probably cap it somewhere. But we're just hoping to, one, give back, and two, is to make it fun. So yeah, so that's on the contest.
And we got another email,
Okay.
and I think I should read this one.
Okay.
This might change.
So you didn't read any of
This
the other
might
ones?
change your attitude.
Oh, my attitude.
And this is from Mike. And thank you for recognizing this, Mike. Hello, your team. Listening to you again. Wow. Randy is being nice to Jackie. Praise the Lord.
I'm always nice
I
to
love
Jackie.
it.
What's
I
up
love
with
it.
that? What's up with that?
He's always getting those little digs in at me.
You know what? That's part of my personality. I don't quite know where that comes from.
It's all the time. Like people constantly say to us, "Oh my goodness, you guys are a joke. You're a hoot," but that's our life. Like we don't put that act on. Like we're us. No matter where we are, here we are.
Yeah, we're
Take
pretty
it or
much,
leave it,
pretty
like
much
us or
the
don't.
Same, even
It's
first thing in the morning, we wake up. It's the same sort of thing, except for I'm sort of giving her the puppy dog eyes, looking for a little bit of attention.
every morning. I
Hopefully-
can't leave the bedroom unless I rub his back.
Just-
He just sits there, and I'm like, "Are you getting up?" Well, I'm waiting for my back rub, and he honestly lies there and waits.
Not every morning, but certain key mornings. Not every morning.
How many mornings in the week?
2 or 3.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? If lying was a sin, you'd be down burning already.
Sweetheart, I think we need to clock this because it's usually a
We
Saturday.
need to clock a lot of stuff because you're becoming
usually-
a dinosaur and you
it's-
can't remember
It's
anything.
usually a Saturday. It's usually a Sunday.
No, it's
Yeah.
every morning.
Nah.
Oh my goodness.
You're
Okay.
you're not that consistent. There's no way. Oh,
You're
well,
the consistent one, not me. I never said I'm consistent.
you know what?
I never said I'm consistent.
The other thing is that you will promise me to go in the hot tub and then never go. It's been like 6 years now that you've been leading me on.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Well, I usually get a headache when we go in the hot tub if I'm in there too long, and it's a chore for me. It really is. Like there's a lot of things that like I got to really think about putting the effort in for, and going in the hot tub is one of them.
But it's got many good health benefits for you.
For you,
For you.
not for me. Anyways, we got another one from Ron. He says, "Hey, God bless Trump getting screwed again."
Oh, so we talked about that the day, actually. I think we made the announcement, a lot of people didn't know, when Trump had tweeted out that he's going to be indicted, but he said that would have been last Tuesday. So now he's officially indicted. So you know what? I want to talk a little bit about the budget, but I think we can mix that into stats.
Yeah, let's just. We got
but
another email.
But I do want, okay, you want to do, but I do want to talk about the Trump thing a little bit, even though we should not talk about politics. I do want to talk about that. I'm going to make a note here because
You can make a note there, but
because I
you
think
in
that that's
politics
really-
is really not a good thing.
I think it's really important. And actually, I'm going to parallel Trump with my life.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Here you go, folks.
As a kid.
Let all your friends know that chime in. It's coming down the pipeline.
And I'm not going to try to do it politically. It's just something that I see, and it infuriates me. Go ahead.
Okay. This one's from Evan. Evan says, "Hey, Randy, your history is wrong. The U.S. bought Alaska from Russia, not Canada.
Oh, really?
The U.S. bought Alaska in 1866 for $7.2 million.
How come I don't remember? I thought there was a time when Canada. Okay, so I got that wrong then. Thank you, Evan. Thank you. I think, is it real? Is it true?
It must be.
You know,
Why would he
You know
say
who would
that?
know? Gary would know. Well,
That is absolutely correct.
There you
The
go.
United States bought Alaska from Russia, not Canada, but I don't remember I don't know the year or the money. You can look that up really quick online, but it was
Okay.
purchased from Russia.
Okay, well, I got that wrong. I thought that Canada pulled a smart move at some point, but I guess I was wrong. Okay, so my whole thing about this Trump, like, I'm not a Biden supporter. Trump is not in power. The reason why I'm not a Biden supporter is because I think that this whole kind of dreamy, I'm going to call it dreamy future that they have for people is paralleled by our government, which is really just, in my opinion, just a tax grab. Because if you can say this wonderful thing like we're going to save the planet and we're going to make it great, but everything you do actually hurts the planet. For example, you ban oil in, let's say, Canada and the United States, not really ban it, but you discourage it, and you ship it off to other countries which aren't making as clean of oil in that. And you're shipping it off to these companies, these countries that are making dirtier oil, dirtier gas, and then you're flying it or boating it back. You're not. There's no. It's a net positive, not a net negative. So how does that? Like, I'm not a great thinker, but that doesn't take a. It doesn't take a lot to say that this doesn't make sense. It doesn't achieve what you're looking to make it achieve. And then you tax your own citizens to do this process. So now we got to pay more for everything because they're saving the world, but they're not really saving the world. They're making it worse. They're making it dirtier. What they're doing is it's almost the equivalent of you're in your house and every part of your house is extremely dirty except for this one little area. And that one area you're tripling up all your costs on so that that one area can be clean, but the rest of it's totally filthy. So anybody walk in doesn't even respect that one area. It's a global planet. If we're shipping our clean emissions off to somewhere that's doing it dirty, it's the same damn planet. So I don't get that one. And that's my concern with this whole leftist kind of movement. And I'm a lefty. I'm a pure lefty, or I was. I've been left behind. I'm now I'm now in the middle of nowhere. So I'm an extreme lefty, but it's the left behind lefty. It's not the left.
So
political.
you're a lefty with a little bit of righty?
Now I seem like a total right. Like I'm on the total right, but I'm not. I'm just
I've
not.
never been a left.
But
don't ask me why. I think a lot of the things that go on in Canada is generation, sometimes after generation, votes the same. I voted, conservative because my mom always voted conservative. So it's not like I grew up caring about what was going on.
Yeah,
at
me
that,
either.
so you just kind of follow suit of your parents or whatever. So only the last few years am I really making a conscious effort.
Yeah, conscious thought about it.
Yeah.
That's true. And for me, it's only in the last little bit because, I never really cared what was happening politically. But now it's like, well, actually, until Trump got in power, then it was super exciting. But it was super exciting because all of a sudden, this president of the United States was a Russian spy, and that was
And
exciting.
a rebel.
And what was really cool, I remember watching CNN on the inaugural day. And on the inaugural day, CNN had all of these episodes of what happens if Trump gets eliminated and so does Mike Pence. Who takes over because they didn't get sworn in and all this stuff. This is what they were doing. I've never seen anything like it, and I thought it was strange. And then after that, CNN lost their mind. After that, you couldn't go to them for real news. Only people who were still stuck in CNN world. And what's really amazing, I was with a dear friend last night, brother-in-law, and he was talking about how Donald Trump was guilty of the murders that happened during January 6th. And I'm like, okay. He goes, of course he was guilty. And I says, because he asked them to march peacefully? No, because he incited violence. And I said, did you watch all the stuff that happened? He goes, yeah. I go, did you happen to notice that they played consistently about 5 minutes of video and they played it repeatedly? Yeah. Well, all the video has been released now. And the videos that they didn't play was that the officers were walking the people around and giving them tours of the damn place and of the White House. And then the next thing is that the what was it? The person that died, unfortunately, supposedly there was a police person that died, but that did not happen. That was proven false, even though it was said it was true and never really reversed. But the person who died was an innocent lady who a guard shot her. So it wasn't the people that were protesting that had guns and spears and killed people. It wasn't like that. It was nothing like that. And then you dig deeper and you watch these videos. Videos were actually like mostly peaceful, but there was a part where they stormed the castle, let's say.
Okay, you know what? We're getting off.
Okay, but no, okay.
No,
So let's,
I know you find it all fascinating.
It is fascinating,
but
but
you know
anyway,
what?
so that happened. Let me
Yeah.
go to the Trump Randy
What?
scenario.
Trump again?
Yeah,
I'm just
I
talking-
gotta do the Trump Randy thing.
That's
Come
enough
on,
for Trump.
come on, just this one time, and then we won't do this again.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so the reason why I'm a lefty, the reason why is because I landed here in 1966. I had a mother and father who weren't married, a mother who obviously probably didn't care a lot about her children, because how can you give up a 2-year-old child? I don't know how you would do that. It sounds very,
Well, you
very
weren't the
difficult.
first. You weren't the first.
I wasn't the first, but I may have been the first to be shipped to another country.
Yeah.
So I was shipped from England, I was born in England, to Canada, to, I guess, my grandmother, whatever. I had a dysfunctional family. I ended up in foster care. So, and then, my experience in foster care was quite interesting.
You're getting off
And
topic.
possibly abusive. No, I'm not. But what it was extremely rewarding, because if I would have stayed with my dysfunctional family, I would have been a hardened criminal for sure. But because I was in foster care, I went through some really bad families and some really bad stuff, but finally landed on a really amazing family.
Did you remember what you were talking about?
Can I finish this? No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go. It's okay.
I'm that interrupting cow again.
Yeah,
aren't
no,
I?
it's a.
I'm sorry.
You want it? You have. Go ahead. I won't say. Okay, so it's all right if you want to. No, okay. So she's letting me speak now. So the thing is that I was in foster care. I ended up with this absolutely amazing family that treated me like they were. I was one of their children, because most of the other homes weren't really like that. You had certain rules that were very different from the family rooms. You were a guest in the home, and it was obvious. And in some ways it was painful, but there were other things that were even worse than just that. So I grew up in foster care, and then found this amazing family. Then that's when I wanted to give back, and that's why I became a foster parent, because I wanted to give what that last family gave to me. It was a spirit of love, which is something that I was kind of lacking for most of my life. But to live with that family, I was living in Lindsay, Ontario, Bethany, Omimi. I was out in that area, Fenelon Falls, and I was the only black person out there. So needless to say, there were some people who did not like blacks, and they didn't know why they didn't like blacks, but maybe they were just angry people, and you were just like a beacon of light that they could put their anger on. So I was in fights every day, defensive fights and all this stuff, sort of like growing up. I was, I'm not allowed to say these words, N-word. I'd like to say it, but I'm live on air. If I was on podcasts, I'd probably say it. I was an N-word, jigaboo, spook. I remember being afraid to eat bananas because I didn't want to, that whole, because it would have just been too easy of a joke. And so I remember what it was like to have everything that you do is being bad. And then, you know, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Now fast forward, I moved from Lindsay to Toronto. And then when I moved to Toronto, I went to a school called East York, okay, because I was now getting a little bit old for foster care. I was in teenage years, and back then it sort of ended at 16, and then they had this transition phase between 16 and 18, and then
they
you're on your
really?
own.
Did they
And that's when
really?
I was kind of homeless. And so then, so anyways, I went to East York, and at East York, it's a Greek school, and then there's a small congregation of black people. So it was like, oh, shoot. The black people wouldn't accept me because I was from Lindsay, and they didn't know I was from Lindsay, but they just knew I was different. I wasn't part of their culture. I didn't understand any of their culture. I was a hick as far as they're concerned. But I looked kind of black, but I didn't walk and talk and anything black. So I was basically ostracized there. So I was ostracized in Lindsay, and then I was ostracized by my own community, and I really didn't have a place. And
Just
so,
to butt in, just to say, like when we were first together and we were living in Pickering, there was a few of your friends that used to say, Randy is the whitest black person I've ever met. That was the phrase. That was the phrase.
yeah, and I kind of knew what they meant by that because I could tell the difference in the cultures, but I certainly didn't know how to bridge it or how to act like. But anyway, so then what ended up happening is I ended up melting into the environment, and the environment started to change. So I'm gonna finish up this little part about Randy, and then do my best to
One
overlay
day
with Trump.
Randy's going to write a book about his life.
So then what happened to me was the weirdest thing in the world, because remember, I'm a guy who didn't know what love was. I didn't really have that idea, but I certainly knew that everything good my wife had, everything that I needed from a person to feel good about who I was. Every time I started thinking about it and writing it down, it actually happened on a plane flight, but every time I did it, she kept rising
tried
to
to get
the
rid of
top, and she just honestly, on paper, because I'm a logical person, I'm not super emotional. I am at times, but I'm not super emotional. And if you were in and out of 21 different homes, or it may have been 21 different schools, we're trying to find out which one it was, you'd have attachment problems also. So that's what I went through when I was in care. But here's the thing, is that I fell in love with her, and I started telling everybody, and that's when we found out that racism wasn't over, because many people said, it is
And that
so,
was in the late 90s.
and that's in the late 90s. It's so wrong to have interracial marriages. Now, me coming from the older part of my life in Lindsay with white people, I don't see color really. I see it, but I don't feel color.
And I'm a newfie, so I don't see
And
it
she
either.
doesn't either. And so probably the best. So people were like kind of saying that what you're doing is wrong and you're going to hurt your children and all this stuff. I just ignored it, not because I wanted to ignore it. It's just because it didn't make sense to me. So it wasn't something that I needed to ponder. It just came in and flew out, and I just thought it was interesting that they thought like that. And then we got married, and then all of that blew out the window. And I believe that it's almost totally gone.
No. Our kids still experience it in some circles. So, and I'm not going to elaborate on it, but they do. Some places they're not white enough, they're not black enough. So it just depends on where.
So then the people were right.
I don't know if it will ever end. I think it's gotten a lot better.
It's gotten a lot better, but it's also just diffused. I don't feel like it's gotten. Personally, I don't feel like it's gotten better, and that's why I want to go to the Trump case. I think it's diffused, because what's happened now is that it's not just against blacks. It's against everyone. Now, whites, like I'm going to say a person that I know dearly put out a really negative, social media post about white people. And we're like, do you realize that your potential mother-in-law or whatever is white? Do you realize that? And you're putting, it doesn't matter, everybody does it. yeah, but it doesn't, like, why are you doing this? Do you remember that? You don't
No.
remember? Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to remind you
No.
because I don't want to bring it
Yeah,
really
no,
close.
yeah.
And so this person was feeling super comfortable about being very derogatory towards white. And then you got now it's okay to be racist. I'm going to say it against white because you can't be racist if you're black talking about whites. It's not possible to be racist. I don't quite understand that one. And it hurts me because coming from racism and knowing what it's like, why would you want to put that on anyone else? Okay, let's push that all aside. That's me. So I don't want to see these injustices. So now you get this guy, this orange guy. So yeah, he is
Orange, I'm like orange guy.
Orange
Now
guy.
I realize
Trump.
you're talking about Trump.
So now you get this orange guy that
He's in a league of his own because
is-
I don't know
yeah,
any other orange people.
Exactly. that is in, like, first of all, he's got a lot of money, but everybody says he's got no money. And I go, okay, he's got no money, but he's got a private jet. It doesn't matter, he's broke. Okay, that means you hate him. So you're inflicting the same hate that I experience. It's just you're not inflicting it on me, you're inflicting it on him. Okay, cool. That's what you're doing? Okay, so now this guy goes out and he actually makes this slogan, "Make America Great Again." Then you have these forces come out of nowhere. And this is the part that scares the crap out of me. The same thing like Trudeau going and rounding up the truckers and possibly putting them in jail or freezing their bank accounts or all that stuff, making them a criminal. Same sort of thing. They now take MAGA, Make America Great Again, and they turn it into this white supremacy,
MAGA?
negative, horrible thing. It's like, wow, how did they do that? They successfully did it. And then they take it and make him an absolute racist, a misogynist, an everythingist. They make him a Russian spy. And now they're actually trying to put him in jail for something they've never never even charged anybody with. And they're like, and so for me, all I see is absolute hatred. I call that hatred, bigotry, racism. This is racism against an orange guy. And so I don't see it the same as everybody else is. Yeah, they're going against Trump, or yeah, I hate Trump. I don't see it like that. I see it as just pure, unadulterated hatred and bigotry. And I cannot believe that it is so flagrant. Worse than it being that flagrant is the fact that it's supported by millions.
Okay, so what I don't
And that
get,
is scary. That is scary.
the thing that I don't understand about the whole thing, and then we're going to go on, okay, because
Yeah.
we're half over the show. We haven't really gotten into anything.
No, we got into lots.
But what I don't understand is, like, why don't they focus that energy on helping the U.S. be better, helping their citizens? And all the lefties don't even see this. They're using all this manpower to shoot down one person that actually did some good when he was in office. I'm sorry. And instead of putting aside his personal crap and saying, hey, he did good business-wise for the country, they don't care about the people. Like, really, when you think about it, they don't care.
They care about the power.
Exactly. The struggle to control everything, not about what can we do to better people's lives. I'm sorry.
And that's very possible.
End quote.
And I guess if I had to bring it to an end, to me, this, and the reason why I'm so stuck on it is because to me, it's the scariest time in history. It's a time where I believe that, if you want to call it reverse racism, bigotry, is at an all-time high, and people don't even recognize that they're doing it. To me, it's the equivalent of back in the day when they used to take the witches and burn them at the stake. And this is what they're doing. Trump is a witch. I don't care if you like him or you don't. Look at what's happening. He is a witch, and now all the people are coming out saying, kill him, hang him. This, you know, and that to me is just extremely scary. And if you sit on the outside and you just watch what's going on, you realize it's happening. And one last thing, it never ever in history was it so exposed that the was it so exposed and okay that we actually started finding out that the actual people that are running things, because obviously this is much bigger than any one person. You got it coming from all over. You got people that are Republicans that are in on it. So there's a big web of people that are going out and have lost their minds, and they're either being paid for it or something's happening, and they're actually all just looking for that witch hunt and to hang the person. And I would have never thought it was this big. I would have never imagined it was this deep. Okay. Like them or love them, that part of it is scary as anything.
I'm ending it there, Randy.
It is ended there.
Okay, we got a few emails again. Ray says, and I got to get this one out there. Thank you, Ray. Hello to Let's Support Jackie Day. Woohoo! When are we going to do that?
I don't know. We'll think about it for next year.
Randy, behind every successful man is a woman, and that woman is Jackie. Hi, Jackie. Thanks, Ray. Thank you very much.
So is Ray saying that you are behind the success of every man? Behind every successful man is a woman.
No, what he's saying
that
is
woman
yours
is Jackie.
is me.
He said that woman is Jackie.
Well,
then,
hey, I can get behind. No, I'm kidding. But anyways, Janice writes in, hi again. You know that a civil war is coming to the U.S. because of this Trump thing. Well, guess what? No one will be coming here to Canada, as well as for two reasons. One, there are people, in fact, a few million people that support Trump here. And number two, folks here in Canada are sick and tired of Trudeau's government. Thank you.
I don't know about that.
But I have had enough. This is so terrible that, what this great country is going through, and not because of natural economic phenomena, but because of the incompetence of our federal government. Such hypocrisy.
Hold on. The Canadians not supporting the Liberals or Trudeau, I have to see that to believe it.
Well, let's hope we soon see it, because he is driving this country into the ground.
But is he really? Like, if you think about the stuff he's doing, he just brought out a dental plan.
For who?
I'm
not. The dental plan for?
I am not in favor.
Who is a dental plan for? I'm just asking.
At all. However, I think that there's a lot of people who are fed up with him, and I think where he lost me is with the truckers. That's when he 100% lost me with the unacceptable views. Because I was one of the unacceptable views, and I couldn't believe he didn't even want to talk to them. But Liberals are loved, especially here in Ontario.
Yeah, I don't get it either.
So I'm not sure.
But, I don't know. Anyways, that's a whole nother show, because you can go up. Politics is never ending. It's a never ending battle. It's always, a fight. So we had an email from Eric. And Eric says, Trump incited violence? What? I saw online over 50 times that Trump said any protest has to be done peacefully and within the law.
That's how he incited it.
Yeah. The lady that died was unarmed, had no weapons, and a guard shot her.
Right.
She was a decorated U.S. veteran and pro-U.S. Constitution supporter. Randy, you are not a lefty as much as you say. Most lefts only care about social issues. There are laws in place for all aspects of social injustice, but don't the folks that are so pro-left leaning care about taxes, health care, and fairness in their life? So you are not a lefty. If you can care about social injustice, So do righties, but the righties also care about fiscal responsibility and making all folks have a decent life. Yeah, I think something's got to happen out there.
Yeah, I think it's also responsibility. Like I think one of the big differences between rights and lefts is that lefts seem to be okay with all the handouts, but they don't look at who's paying these handouts. They look. I guess this whole is it equality? What's that? What's that balance? Gary, you must know what that balance thing is. They're looking for equity. That's it. Equity. They're looking for equity. Equity.
Oh.
And it's, what's really strange is that you'll hear someone like Kamala Harris talking about equity. Well, how the heck could that ever work?
You know what I hear from Kamala Harris every time? You know, there's a major flood and 70,000 people died. That's what I hear from my vice president.
Yeah, so she believes in equity, and the thing is that, you know, you can only, like in Canada here, we're up to like 51% tax. Like, how much higher can you go?
Yeah, let's really dig at the person that's out there working their butt off trying to make money. Let's take more of their money.
And we saw, and this is the thing, is that we saw that when you actually lowered the taxes for corporations, the corporations invested in their people and invested in their company to make it bigger to employ more people. They didn't take the profits because they got lots of money. They didn't take the profits and go have a money bath. And so that's what we saw happen. But people think it's the exact opposite that happens. They think that, I don't know, that they're not, you know, that the millionaires and the billionaires, they're not going to go out and try to earn more by employing more people in that. So they want them to have to pay more taxes and all that. But I'll tell you this, just look on your bill when you go somewhere, and you're going to see one of two things. One you won't see, and the other one you will. You'll see that the new taxes are passed through, and they're listed on your bill. Or two, they raise the prices for the new taxes. So, you know, all that happens is everything gets more expensive for us the more you tax them, because they got to run a company.
Yeah.
And believe me, while they might be making hundreds of millions of dollars, they are putting out billions of dollars in order to make that. So the thing is that if they're not able to turn a profit on their money, they just won't do it that way. They'll go somewhere else. And so this has been kind of proving, the more that you go out and you spend and you do this and make your government bigger, and that's one of the reasons why Trudeau will always do well. He keeps expanding the government so he gets more voter base, because they know if they bring in the Conservatives are more apt to shrink that. So these people's jobs will be at risk and things like that. So I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. It's from Carl. Carl says
Carl again?
after.
Is it?
I'm not sure if it's the same.
How's
Carl.
it?
Sorry.
No, how's it? How is it?
How is what?
How's it, Carl? Forget it. You missed it. That's what he said.
Sorry. Housing, I think it was.
How's it?
Hey, after hearing Randy talk, I think that he is the whitest black guy that I have ever heard.
How's it going, Carl?
Oh my goodness, the emails are pouring in now. Howard says, the biggest racism in the world right now is against the white male. Black folks can say what they want about the white male, but if the white male says something about the black guy, look out. Watch the violence fly. There is no room for any racism in this world. Knock it off. You know what? Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah.
There is no room for it. It needs to go. It's like.
But the problem is it's not called racism if I go and I attack Mike or Gary and call them all kinds of derogatory names.
It's okay.
You know, it's okay because somehow, some way, some white people went after some black people somewhere, and that's it. It's over. And so I understand that we had these hardships and that, but does that mean that the people who are walking right now on the earth are responsible for that? I think that's a little bit
what
ridiculous.
I say. Like,
I mean,
you
I
keep
don't
it going and
understand.
keep it going, but it needs to stop at some point.
Well, it's going to
We need
reverse.
to start teaching our kids that there's no color. There's no color in this world.
I want to say one more thing since we're on this whole rant thing. And
Uh-oh.
I'm okay with being hated, and I'm okay with being canceled because I need more free time.
Oh,
So if they don't
shoot.
let me do the show, I don't really care. This whole movement, they had the January 6th where they go in and they pretend there was this insurrection, which it certainly, by the videos that I see, it wasn't good, but it was nothing like what was happening for the last couple of years where they were burning down cities and everything, and the whole left was perfectly okay with all that. They were like, oh, it's peaceful. CNN reporters on the news with the building on fire behind him saying it's mostly peaceful, protests. Well, yeah, it's mostly peaceful. Most of the people are peaceful, but there's people burning down the buildings, and that's not important. But where you had a 100% peaceful protest, actually, at the on January 6th, because the only bad things that happened were the guards that did the bad thing. That's where you're saying that these people need to be locked up for the rest of their lives. And then you get the movement of, hey, let's tear down these statues of these people like Abraham Lincoln and these people who actually shaped our world and gave us what we got, and let's put it up. Do you know that they erected a statue of George Floyd? And so they're going to now put up this statue of George Floyd, a hardened criminal, to represent us black people. I think it's a joke. I honestly think, and this is my heart of hearts, and I know I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but I honestly believe that there is the white supremacy is the actual people who are the heading up the movement of the Black Lives Matter. That's my take on it, and I know it's kind of wrong, and I think Black Lives Matter did make an interesting help for black people to be more aware and maybe even join together, but it's ruined by the way it was done. By the people at Tifa or whoever burning down things and that. Who wants to be a piece of that? And then you're erecting a statue of George Floyd. Who's going to be proud of that? Like, I know that it was wrong that what the policeman did to him. I know that, but he's a hardened criminal. I don't want a statue of him representing black people. And I'm sorry, that's just how I feel. If I get canceled, hey, so be it.
Okay. You might get canceled out of some people's lives, but hey. Kelly says, right on, Jackie, the U.S. media and the Democrats have spent millions of dollars and time to go over Trump for everything. Nothing to help us down here. We're all sick of it. So obviously Kelly's down in the States somewhere. Sorry, guys. And here we got... oh, shoot, I am sorry. I hit the wrong one. And Winnie, wow, Jackie, you are right on today. Randy is so confused about his thought process. Just watch what happens here. Trudeau has fed up this country. I miss my old Canada. And that's from Winnie.
Thank you, Winnie. Although I didn't like how you introduced that whole thing. She said that Randy's confused. And Jackie, you're so right.
Boy, another one.
I think she got it backwards. Winnie has dyslexia. She meant Jackie's confused and Randy's got it right.
That's how you twist everything, but
No,
it's
no.
but it's just a twist you're doing.
I think
just so you know.
I think you should get checked.
Anyways,
Winnie. I think
Mike
you should
says,
get checked for.
Randy, I was in
Dyslexia.
Washington on that day. I was representing a union, and we went to the so-called insurrection with 4 other folks. Thousands of protesters did nothing illegal, nothing. But when Black Lives Matter protested, they destroyed their own neighborhoods and black businesses. WTF. It is the media fueling this shit.
I agree with it's the media fueling it. I'm
Well,
not
it's all
really.
about- you think
I'm
about
not
it,
sure.
though.
I'm not sure if it was
What
Black Lives
is
Matter that
media?
torched the stuff. I think it was probably more Antifa, but it didn't matter. We should have stood up against it instead of saying that it was okay or that we're going to do more. Like that was the problem that I had, is that if Black Lives Matter would have said, no, we're trying to do peaceful protests and this kind of stuff isn't acceptable and those people should go to jail, then I would have been okay with the movement. But as soon as they started accepting this stuff that was going on, that was not okay. And if you check, the people who were getting arrested for burning down the place was white. They were white. They weren't black, so it wasn't really, but I mean, what the heck? I don't know, it's really confusing time.
Who knows?
And that's why I say that.
Listen, anything that's out there for the public to see, like media, reporters, I'm sorry, but my take on all of that is that you have to write something very interesting to get the ratings, to get people to watch you, to remain on air. Like, that's just the way it is. So, I mean, you know, there's this saying that people used to say, and it's believe half of what you hear, half of what you see and none of what you hear. Because even half of what you see is not really what you think it is.
Yeah, that's
So,
very true.
I mean,
That's
that's
open
just
to
one saying
interpretation.
that, you know, we used to have. But you know what?
So
we are like
let's
9 minutes.
Let's talk a little bit about, give you a little bit of stuff on what's going on in the market next week. Next week we're going to have the March market information. The market, remember, we're in the eye of the storm, which means we're going through a real estate crash. As we're going through this real estate crash, the market is doing some wonderful things. The market is actually increasing in its price. However, we saw March. We saw January increase, February increase. Then we saw the first week of March increase, the second week of March increase, the third week of March kind of plateau, and the fourth week of March start to come down. So we're wondering, you know, it's really interesting to try to figure out, are we on a shelf? And what I mean by a shelf is, typically speaking, when you have a crash, you meet the peak, which we met in March of last year, and you start coming down, and then in July, prices sort of held stable until December started to creep a little bit down, and then they started shooting back up January, February, March. And that, I believe they call that like a shoulder or something like that, or a dead cat bounce. And that's kind of where the cat, you know, bounces. It looks like it might be moving, but it's really not. The market, or it's a shelf of some sort. But then after that, the market then continues to come down. So we're waiting to see if we're actually going to have a recovery, or if we're actually going to see the market do the dead cat bounce and then actually start to shoot down. We don't know which one it is, and we can't give you that information because we just don't know. But what I can tell you is that really, really interesting stuff to me, the markets are now at a 50-50 clash with whether the Bank of Canada and the Fed, the reserves, the Federal Reserve in the States, are going to lower rates. There's a 50-50. So you're talking billions of dollars being invested on this bet. And the bet is that it's 50-50 which way that the Feds are going to have to go. And here's one of the catalysts of why they believe that it has to reverse. They have to start bringing rates back down. And it has to do with bank liquidity. Now, they cannot destroy the financial institutions. They can't do it. Because if they destroy the financial institutions, the bedrock of our economy is gone. And how do they do this? Remember, what is the number one asset on the bank's books? It's the mortgages. What happens if that asset becomes negative? In other words, all the mortgage, not all, but a good portion of the mortgages that they have on the books are actually not worth the money that they've lent out. And this is a big, big problem right now. It's being exposed more and more and more every day. CIBC made their put out a statement. Keep the time, sweetheart.
5 minutes. We got an email too.
CIBC put out a statement. They're the only bank of our 6 large that put out this statement, and they reported that 20%, almost $50-something billion worth of mortgages are actually on their books or underwater. What they mean by that is that the people are paying less money per month than their interest payments. Wow, never before in history. So if you can imagine that book of business, now 20% of their business is actually underwater, and that number is climbing. If the bank keeps raising those rates, that becomes worse. And then remember, the banks only keep a cash reserve of just a few, just like, pennies on the dollar, basically. And so, if they've got these negative books, they're not going to be able to stay liquid. And that's a financial crash. And the problem with financial crashes today, unlike the financial crashes of the future, is that cryptocurrency is in the background waiting to clean up the mess. In other words, people don't have to do a bank rush and run into the bank. They can take their money and throw it in stable coins. They can just transfer it online. They say, I don't trust that bank anymore, and move it to a stable coin. And so these are the options that people have that they never had before. Before, we had to rush into the bank and pull out our money and try to put it under a pillow or something like that. But it doesn't have to be done like that today. So yeah, it's really, really fascinating that that the banks, that the Federal Reserve and the Bank of Canada has a new pressure that, even though their mandate is all about bringing inflation in line, in other words, they have to control the price of bread and stuff like that from going up too high by making sure you don't have enough money to spend on those things. At least that's how it seems. But if that's the case, then now they have this bigger problem that as they raise the rates, they're destroying the bank's liquidity. Crazy times. What that means is, and I need to finish this because my wife wants to do something here. What that means is that there's a good chance that there's enough pressure on them to start to bring down the prices, to bring down the interest rates. And if they do that, I can tell you all the indicators for the real estate market is going, the prices are going to shoot up. Go ahead, sweetheart.
Okay, we have an email from Tommy, and it's titled BLM. Randy, what planet are you on? The leader of the Black Lives Matter,
Yeah, I know,
Alicia Garza, stated that BLM has thousands of white folks that support BLM and are part of the movement. So why wouldn't some white folks be burning down businesses? Get your facts straight. Online, over 123,000 white folks are part of the BLM membership, and millions of white liberals support them.
Right. But what's that have to do with what I said?
Well, what he said, you said, well, there was white people burning down the buildings. And he said, well, why wouldn't there be? They're part of the movement as well. He's just saying it's obvious.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm sorry, and this is
or
where
I believe
separate
that's what
things.
he's saying.
I like the fact that white people are part of the movement, but not if you're burning things down. See, the black people aren't going and burning it down as part of the movement. I'm sorry, that's how I feel, Tommy.
At some point in this world,
Tommy's going to become a hater for me.
On Earth, we only got 1 minute left. We need to step up and say, you know what? Let's wipe out the past. I had nothing to do with the past. Why are you hating on me? Why are you hating back on me? You know, it needs to stop. People need to come together, like to help each other. Like, that's what we're meant to do. If you have plenty, if you have more than you need, help the next person. That's what life is supposed to be about. Doesn't matter what color you are, where you're from, who you are. All that, to me, that matters is if you're a good person. Are you a good person? Are you trying in life? Are you, to me, that's what matters. But anyways, the show's over.
Are you good to me? Are you good to my family? That's really what kind of matters. We all will make mistakes.
Of course.
But we need to be forgiven. And
that's the show.
Yeah. So thank you very much for listening. And I hope that you can forgive us for this frank conversation. Some of it I can already tell is misinterpreted, or actually we didn't get a chance to play it all out, so it's not fully understand. But we love you for listening to us, and we hope that you had a great time.
See you next week.
This is Your Home, Your Money in Our Lives on realityradio101.com.
Bye for now. Have a great weekend.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy and Jackie, right here on Reality Radio 101.